Fantasy Philosophers is brought to you by fantasy-info.com.
Even though Drew Brees had the hardest passing schedule coming into last season, it didn't faze him a bit as he threw 34 touchdowns over 4,000 yards passing, and he even ran 2 touchdowns in. For the Saints as a team, they proved they could consistently play against the big boys and win as they rode their sound play all the way to the Super Bowl and beat the Colts. Speaking of the Colts, it's interesting to compare Drew Brees and his aggressive offense to Peyton Manning and the old aggressive offense of the Colts back when they had Marvin Harrison and all the guys back around 2003, 2004. Peyton Manning set the touchdown record in 2004 with 49 touchdowns, but they didn't win a championship. And so that translated into the Colts changing their style of play to slow things down a bit more so their defense wouldn't have to be on the field. And that worked out for them. They ended up winning a Super Bowl and had a lot of success with that as well. But for the Saints, as I should say, that hurt Peyton Manning's fantasy value because they played that slower way to win. But for Drew Brees, they played aggressive, and that won them a Super Bowl. So my point with saying all that is that Drew Brees and the Saints should continue their aggressive play for years to come because that is proven to give them the success that they needed to win a Super Bowl, whereas with Peyton Manning, that didn't quite work for them back in the day, so they had to change things, and it hurt his fantasy value. Also, this, their style of play, because this is a copycat league, you could see more teams being more aggressive in the passing game, which could open up a lot more things, even more so in passing, although we're already in an era of big-time quarterbacks. I'd say this is probably the deepest class of quarterbacks I can remember in the last 20 years of playing fantasy football. So expect Drew Brees to have another fabulous season. I'd put him just behind Aaron Rodgers in the rankings at quarterback, and that's mainly, it's nitpicking, but it's more so because Aaron, he racked up over 300 yards rushing last season, and Drew only had 33 yards rushing. So, a lot of fantasy leagues, they'll actually give you points for the rushing totals, and Brees isn't helping you there, but, that's just nitpicking. Brees is still a fabulous quarterback, and, like I say, last year, he had the hardest schedule against coming into the season to pass against. This year, he's got the 6th easiest schedule. So, hard schedule, easy schedule, it really doesn't seem to matter, although you'll always take an easy over a hard. Brees is a stud.
For more fantasy football information, go to fantasy-info.com and sign up for our free e-newsletter. Good luck in your 2010 Fantasy Football League. As an added bonus, the Fantasy Info guys will include their 5 secret tips for success in fantasy